Okay, so just showed you building onto the original end of the spoon video, which was make a copy of the, and I'll hide this for a moment, make a copy and paste of the existing spoon outside of the 4-minute workspace. So I made a copy and paste, and then would just use Sketch and Extrude and cut straight down through the bowl and made it into a strainer. You could do this to modify whatever, but like I said, the distinction is I want to see an actual variation in the actual or it being a similar form. It cannot just be, yep, the same thing, and I cut holes in it. I want to see a distinction. You could make it a long handle, wide handle, anything like that. You could expand the size of the bowl, whatever, make it an actual augmentation or an actual variation, and then you can augment it with like Sketch and Extrude, things like that. You could always go through and like, yeah, I wanted to cut holes in the handles because I want to be able to hang them, things like that. Whatever, makes sense. But I did also want to show you a slight variation on this as well, in that this original one, we used two different form bodies to join together with the bridge and then thicken, simply because it made more sense to make something that actually had a like rounded shape, like a bowl, like a spoon, and a handle, rather than just using one single object. So I wanted to create a new one. So for, as always, start with save. Example, fork. So with this, if you want, again, never a problem to start with a canvas. Uh, and I just grabbed like just a picture of a fork from above. You don't have to. Should have made a distinction which is which here. I think it's that one. Nope, that's a spoon. That's a fork. Pick your plane. Pick a plane, any plane. There we go. Looks good enough. It's about centered. Again, we can go in, edit our canvas, right click on there, calibrate. Always helps to go from the top, side to side. 14 millimeters is pretty tiny. It should probably be more like 140. Obviously, you can measure these as you would like, or you can just kind of freeform it. This can be mildly irritating that's right, not smack in the center, but you don't necessarily have to make this in the center. This could just be a reference point, whatever you want to work. So creating a new form. And this time I wanted to treat this basically just as one form that we could continue to manipulate so you can see how you can expand on that. And then I'll make a copy to make the two versions. So starting with a plane, starting with its center point rectangle, and we did this for the handle. So I'm just going to stretch outward. And again, because I'm going to modify this, I'm going to make this, close enough. Sure, that's about right. And I definitely want to add some sections to this, but not too many, because it will definitely help to add complexity later. So yeah, 3, maybe I do 4, I don't know. But I'm going to keep the width as just 2 faces, so that way I can put my symmetry on, mirror, width symmetry. It's hard to see, but that green line is going right now top to bottom. So my 2 sides will be symmetrical. Cool. That's all I need. So from here, this is straight on just using the form edit tools however you see fit. And I'm going to stretch this around to get about where I want it to be. So I currently have it with edges. I'll go with vertices just because I kind of like working that way. Drag to vertice, and I'll stretch this one out till I get to about where the handle goes. Okay, cool. Now, I'm going to show you why I'm doing this in a moment, but I'm going to shrink this down a little bit, and we'll make that about the handle. Cool. To shrink down, well, I'm going to need a little bit of complexity, because what happens if I shrink this down, and I'm going to use a scale, see, I don't have any control over here, because this works by, think of like how you go and physically bend a thing. You don't just move it and it'll bend. Yes, it kind of works that way, but it works best if you have something to brace against. So like if I want to make a sharp bend, helps a lot more if I put like, if I'm trying to bend like a piece of wood or a piece of metal, something like that, lean it over a table and then bend downward. And that way it's bending against the corner of the table, something to that effect. So what I mean by that is, let me Command Z that, and I can shrink these. That's fine. See, because it has this other piece right in the middle here. That's what it needs. So this would be the area where, all right, well, if I realize I need a little more to work with, we can just go to Insert Edge, and wherever it makes sense. I'm going to double click. I'm on the vertical lines in this case, so I can split it up. If you want it to go on one side or the other, cool. You see the green line moving around. Let me zoom in a little bit, so you can see it more clearly. So just so I have something to help bend against. You can also do it from both sides. So go to insertion side, both. Put it there. Remember, this is going from 0 to 1, 0 being the line you just selected, 1 being the next available line. So 0.5 is smack in the middle between them. The slider just moves it closer or further from the original line. That's all. So if I have more edges now I can add them. Now I can manipulate a little bit easier. Main thing is, like I said, just don't start with too much because it just gets so overwhelming so very quickly. Now I'm just shrinking this around. Again, we're not trying to make an exact match fit. We're just trying to make these, does that work for you? Cool, whatever. All right, fine enough. We did talk about last class also, if I wanted this end to actually completely be round, get out of the form edit, select the corner. You don't have to select both vertices, corner vertice, but hit delete. Now the problem is I didn't have a line over there. I had nothing to brace against. So, because when I deleted that, the whole thing shrank. I rounded over, but it shrank. Let's instead make sure you select both of them or double click it. And if I put one, insert an edge line there, like just somewhere. Okay. Now when I go to delete that corner, it doesn't shrink all the way. So the closer I got that edge line would be better. So if I had, instead, I'm just going back a bit, double click there. Let's just bring that edge line a little bit closer. I'm not going off a certain number or anything like that. Closer to the corner there. Okay. Just doesn't shrink it as much. That's all. So you can, again, continue to play with this however you like, whatever you see, however you see fit. Try to keep it symmetrical. Expand, contract, however works. Okay, anyway, blah, 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 blah. That's a handle. Neato burrito. All right. So what we can do here is what I was just talking about, making a copy of the form. I want to show you two different ways. So I'm going to select this body. I'll move and then create copy. I know because copy and paste doesn't always work properly. So I'm going to leave it right where it is. So fork 1, fork 2, just that way. So the reason I want to do 2 of these is fork 1, I'll show you how to do a fully edit, and the other will be, if I could spell, sketch and extrude. So for the first one, let me hide that one. That's going to be the edit one. Okay, cool. I am still in the form workspace. Like I said, I have not exited the form workspace, so I can still manipulate them individually. The other one, like I showed you with the spoon, if it's outside of the form workspace, the only thing I could do is do like sketch and extrude, things like that. So here, all right, got my stuff. Cool. So what I would try to do here is let's stretch this out so I can actually, ooh, no, it didn't work nearly as well. Should stretch this one a bit more too. There we go. Now I could extrude this whole thing forward, but I want to show you how I can play around a bit more. Oh, got it? With the extrude workspace. So I finished the thing. I can still go in and I can, obviously make my move it around however I want to make it a wavy fork. But what I want to show you how to do here is I want to actually make the tines sculpted. The other way I can just chop it out, easy peasy. But this way, what I can do here, I do have to have a little bit of thickness. So I'm going to add a thicken to this. I don't know, 1, 2 millimeter, doesn't really matter right now. Just making a bit of a dimension to it. Okay, cool. So I've made yada yada. Obviously, yeah, I still want to make a curve to the fork, but right now I just want to focus on making the tines for the fork. So essentially, now that I have dimension thickness, I can actually extrude these forward. Press and hold Well, now I got to remember. So it's within the form workspace or the edit workspace. Let me select by face. So if I'm just selecting here, and I have symmetry on, if I drag forward, it's going to move everything. I don't want that. Oops. I keep forgetting between Mac. It is, come on, work with me here. Option. There we go. Sorry, I had to remember what it is with Mac. Option actually extrudes forward by face. I can actually select the face and pull it forward. Now, of course, the problem here is you see this kind of wonky center, things like that. Yeah, that means I'm definitely going to have to divide this up. So I'm going to go instead, I need to divide up this face. So the add complexity later. Insert edge, that line, definitely making some doubles. Okay, cool. Now I essentially have 4 faces. I want to make 4 tines. But if I select those individual, or rather if I select all of them, I'm going to select by face. If I select these, nope. Sorry, I keep getting scrambled a little bit here. And try to option extrude. Oops, what did I just do? It still selects everything. I need that gap between. So that means add some more subdivisions. But at least here, I can just add like a wee little gap or something. So insert edge again. You cannot select more than one edge if they're separate. So I just have to do one. So I don't know, like 0.1. I want it like just really close. A little bit too far, honestly. Probably should make it a little bit closer, even so. I don't know, 0.05? Sure, something super close. But because I have symmetry on, just do it on both sides. Cool. Repeat that just for the center. What was that? Yep, 0.05. Cool. Just a wee little gap. All righty. Now I can go to edit form. Now this kind of got a little wonky here. I should have probably, instead of kept it on a double, I should have kept like a single one, something like that. But if I select by face, now I'm trying to keep track of what I got here. It keeps messing with me because of by Mac. There we go. Trying to get more than one tine here. There we are. So now I have my multiples. Press and hold option. That got real funky. Don't like that. I think that's just because I had multiple edges. But essentially what I was just trying to do this part, I can drag forward just the tines. Now that's coming out. I'm not sure why that's not staying sharp. That usually the extrude would have stayed sharp there. Soft modification is not on. Don't know. Strange. Anyway, that's essentially how you can just press and hold option, and I keep forgetting because I'm not used to Mac, and you can drag your tines forward and actually sculpt the tines in place. Now that got a little wonky because over here, I probably should have left the sides as a soft edge instead of a sharp edge when I added thickness. But there we go. That's a pretty quick, easy way where you can just keep sculpting. You can keep dragging stuff around. You can make all kinds of weirdo modifications of these, like we've been doing from the side here. Neat. I don't know. Drag this up. I don't know, move some of these up. Again, you make the fork slightly more fork-like. What do you know? Obviously put a little more time into it, but that is a messed up fork. All right, so one that's been through the carburetor, whatever, you get the idea. The other one, and let me save that. Sculpted fork. So the other one, let me hide that abomination. And this one, just going to do like we would have done before. There's no thicken to this just yet. Oops, oops, oops. Definitely getting some bogging going on today. So this one, I would go ahead and let's expand that up. And I'm just going to make this actually like it should be, in that I don't have to option extrude or anything like that. Just dragging this out to about where it would be. somewhat fork-like. Just trying to make them fit a little bit. Good, close enough. Okay. Obviously, if I want to actually add my curvature, it'd be a little bit easier to do right now, although a little bit awkward to see it. Do the same thing I did. I don't know. I'm literally just moving this around a little bit. Nothing complex, anything like that. Rotate, mess it all up entirely, whatever. I don't know where it was. Yeah, there we go. Okay, fine. Making another horrible fork. But again, I'm going to finish this out by thicken. Sure, let's say 1 millimeter. This time, I don't know, I'll do a soft edge. Doesn't matter. Oof, that is a thin fork. That just bothers me, so I'm going to make that a little bit bigger. The lag I keep selecting something and it doesn't select where I want it to. The problem is here, you can see what happened. My thicken, it rounded the thing over. Maybe I should have kept it as a sharp thicken. Not sure. It looks like it really augmented some stuff. So at worst, I'm going to have to go through and just going to change some things around. Anything like that. We'll make it bigger. I don't know. Not something I wanted to bother with right now, but if I super needed to adjust this, looks like I should be able. I don't know why it did that. That's really weird. Man, that came out real funky. I can probably do what I could probably do. Not something we're going to deal with right now, but I could try to crease this again. So there are tools in here to like add creases. So basically, I'm making this whole thing, I'm sculpting it. I can actually make a sharp corner. I'm just going to try it real quick. Not something we're really dealing with just yet. I made it worse. All right, ignore it. I don't know why the whole thing went out like that. I was not trying to make a surfboard, trying to make a fork. Anyway, moving on. We'll do troubleshooting later. Let's see here. T-spline. Of course, something happened. Something wonkified. What's going on here? Oof. Somehow. What?
It's impossible.
Yeah, I agree. I have no idea what happened there. So not what I was expecting to have to do. Let's have a look-see. Can we auto repair? Let's try it. Ugh. Yeah, I know. Great. Well, I'm going to pause for a moment. I'm not going to force you to sit here and watch me. Okay, well, figured out the problem. The problem was with the other form entirely. So that's an issue, but probably what happened is just in dividing up faces, something got a little wonky out of whack there. So cool. We can continue using this one. We'll just speed forward because I don't want to waste any more time with this. So all I was trying to do is add thickness to the existing model. Bam, done. Warped a little bit. All right. Finished form. It's going to give us an error. That's fine. And it's going to hide the other one that I messed up with. So essentially all I was doing with this is just trying to make a modified form, show you the difference between you can sculpt the tines in, or in this case, create a sketch like we've done before. Let's copy the outline of our fork, which again, it narrowed out because of some other issues. I'm going to have to modify that on its own. Not going to waste time with that. But just want to do something real quick of like, all right, to make the dividers, you can obviously sculpt it, draw it, whatever, but I'm just going to use a center point rectangle right in the center. Sure, that works. The reason because it's easy to put things right in the center. I can, of course, use my fillets to round out that corner there. I don't care about the other end. If I can grab it, there we go. Sure, whatever. The reason is it extends well beyond the original fork. Stop moving, please. This computer's lagging very badly today. And then with this, if I need to make copies that match, back to what we used to do. We're in the sketch environment. Let's just use a circle or rectangle pattern to copy that. And I want it to go in symmetric directions. I said symmetric directions on the wrong one. There we are. Just stretching that a little bit so it fits about where I want it to. Cool. There we go. Got my lines. It fits. Now I can just go back and use the old Sketch Extrude. Those profile. I need it on those profiles, please. Please let me select the profile. Why is it not letting me select the profiles that I have selected right there? Cool. It's going to be one of these kind of days.
Could you select them from the other side? So the side
That's what I just did. And it's all right. Awesome. So it is just full on not letting me select these. Oh, I see the problem. The fillet didn't complete when I did it. Because the whole thing was lagging, I couldn't see it. Stop moving. Yeah. So hopefully it'll let me. Nope. All right. Well, ideally this was just going to be a simple sketch and extrude, and instead it's just a absolute extension of, yeah, see I snapped to the construction line rather than making the edge, just because with my computer lagging, it's not snapping correctly. Whatever. Deal with it later. All I was trying to do, sketch and extrude that. If I have to, do it symmetrically so it goes in both directions. Just a dimension. It does not matter. We're just trying to cut a hole in it. So obviously do that correctly and it'll come out correctly. Sorry for the delay in that making it so much longer. So sketch and extrude it to make your tines, or actually try sculpting it out. Obviously, I was running into some errors. I think that was largely just due to selecting the wrong spot as I extruded forward. So try it out, but modify them into distinct forms, and however you need to use to modify them to get a couple of distinctly different ones, go for it.